There are a bunch of new reports suggesting that Shang-Chi will be filming later this fall in Australia, and a casting call was just leaked that seems to confirm a very crazy fan theory.
It's like the news, but for nerds. Subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Today's shout out goes to Sergio Zenteno. Indeed, Gabriella Howler was the mother of Legion from the comic. Stay to the end of this video where we will ask another nerd card question. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday to you. I'm, of course, Josh. This is the Den of Nerds, and I gotta do it one more time, guys. Really need them likes. YouTube's being weird and YouTubey, so just, for a while now, just gonna ask you, please, just drop the finger down, click that like. It would be awesome if you did. By the way, yesterday you guys killed it. Over 2,000 likes. Let's keep that up. All right, now let's get into the news. Do you guys remember when Kevin Feige did the AMA on Reddit very recently? He was asked a number of different questions about the Marvel films that had come out and some of the Marvel films that were coming out. And do you also remember that in that AMA, he seemed to confirm that the actual Mandarin and the criminal organization known as the Ten Rings would actually be explored more in the future of the MCU? Well, due to a new casting call, we believe that the Mandarin will indeed be cast as the main villain in the Shang-Chi movie. According to Geeks Worldwide, Marvel Studios is starting production for the film later in Australia, and they have begun casting. Now, on a slight side note here, it's been reported by several different people that Shang-Chi would be shooting in Australia, and now that it's confirmed that a Marvel Studios production is happening in Australia, people are pretty much confirmed that this is Shang-Chi. Now, the first casting call to have been leaked is looking for a wise old statesman who is the leader of his people. They are looking for an Asian actor between the ages of 40 and 60. Now, it's important to note here the separation between all of these characters. This might get confusing for you if you're sort of a casual Marvel fan, so check this out. In the comic books, the Mandarin is actually this very, very old Asian character who has all of these ancient ties to different shadow organizations. He's been in the different politicking things and has these 10 rings that have power. And when this character was adapted to be the villain of Iron Man 3, people were pretty excited to see what Ben Kingsley would do with this role, but of course in that movie it is revealed that he's actually playing a character named Trevor Slattery, who is someone pretending to be the Mandarin. But then Marvel did a short film, actually several short films that are all considered canon to the MCU, that explained that there is an actual Mandarin and that the Ten Rings is actually a terrorist organization that's sort of a shadow criminal organization that the Mandarin is in charge of. And the question from the Reddit AMA was specifically asking about that organization and the real Mandarin, like knowing full well that this thing does exist in the MCU. The question was, will we see that explored more in the future of Marvel movies? And Feige simply said yes, and there's no reason for him to do that. Like, he pretty much confirmed that this is a thing, and I think it was to get people excited. Now, a wise old statesman, someone that is the leader of their people, an Asian actor between 40 and 60, this fits all of the properties that we would associate to the comic book version of the Mandarin. And because Shang-Chi has a lot of history with different shadow organizations and organizations like the Hand and of course the Iron Fist, it was speculated almost immediately upon Feige simply saying that the real Mandarin did exist and would be explored, that that character would happen in Shang-Chi. It just seemed like a perfect fit considering stuff from the comic book version of Shang-Chi and the comic book version of the Mandarin. Now, another big reason that this is very probable is because Marvel likes to do this. One of the tried and true marketing and development strategies that the MCU employs is using things from its canon to connect its new properties. I mean, Black Panther uses Ross and Claw, characters that were established in other movies. Captain Marvel literally uses Agent Coulson, Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, Ronin, the Kree, which have all been established in other movies. Spider-Man Homecoming uses Iron Man and his relationship in Iron Man from other movies as a through thread. This is something that they really like to do. They like to use things from past movies to help bridge the gap for casual fans between those movies and the new properties that they're not as familiar with. And so sprinkling in some Mandarin and Ten Rings would automatically connect Shang-Chi and that movie to things that we are pretty curious about from the MCU. Again, in the comic book, Shang-Chi as a character has a lot of connections to these different kinds of organizations, and his father in particular, a character named Zhang Zhu, is very friendly with a lot of different criminal organizations, and his half-sister, that would be Shang-Chi's half-sister, Fa Lo, is a brutal warrior character that often clashes with Shang-Chi in the comics. Now, a second casting call that went out with the older statesman character was looking for one of those leaders' most skilled warriors, and they were trying to cast a female Asian actor in their 30s or 40s. So people really believe that the second character that is cast, that second casting call, is for Shang-Chi's sister, which brings a lot of different intrigue. I mean, is it possible that the statesman is the Mandarin and Shang-Chi's father? Is it possible that it's just the Mandarin and his half-sister is implored by the Mandarin and there'll be some extra family drama there? It's important to note that Marvel does change things from the comics quite a bit. I mean, as an example, just look what they did with the Mandarin originally in the Iron Man 3 movie. Pretty crazy stuff. And so it looks like we'll probably get some changes. And for now, we really only know that in Shang-Chi, these characters are being cast, and we have to speculate that this would be the Mandarin. But there is a lot of evidence that sort of lines up for this to be the case, and I think what's going to be happening here is the family drama of Shang-Chi and his connection to these different shadow organizations will also be connected to the Mandarin and the 10 Rings. And if I had to speculate even further, I would think that the state of the world, if this film is continuing in the current MCU timeline, that the state of the world and sort of the needs for the world to come together more, for there to be new teams established, for Earth to have better defenses, the fact that infrastructure around the world is probably crumbling, all of those factors I think would tie in to a Shang-Chi movie and make it this very interesting thing. Now, just like what happened in Wakanda, where they were sort of this isolated society that then opens up to the rest of the world, perhaps the 10 Rings is decided they no longer want to be a shadow organization, and because of the state of the world, they think it's now important to come forward and take fuller control of society. Something like that could be really interesting. Either way, I am pumped to see Shang-Chi the movie. I love kung fu movies. I love political intrigue, Shakespearean-like family drama. It seems like they're setting up some really cool stuff for the Shang-Chi movie, but that is the report out there, guys. This new casting seems to hint at the Mandarin and the 10 Rings being the antagonist for the Shang-Chi movie. What do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comments section below. Now let's check the nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know, what was the original name in the comic books of Shang-Chi's father? It had to be changed for what will be obvious to you because the name has some weird connotations. But the question remains, what was the original name in the comic books of Shang-Chi's father? Answer that question in the comments section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.